Hey everybody, thanks for tuning into this next episode. We got a pretty cool inspirational story for you today. I got Wes Watson, who is the managing partner at Day One Automotive, who is near Baltimore. He's about 15 minutes northwest of Baltimore there in Maryland. And Wes, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So I came across you on LinkedIn, and it was really cool to see your story. You spent time in automotive retail, and you've worked it up all the way to the point now where you're a managing partner and like an owner at an automotive retail point. So how cool is that, Wes?
Every day I wake up and it doesn't seem real, but after all the phone calls and meetings, it's definitely real. So yes, sir.
That's right. You wake up, it doesn't feel real, and then you go through the daily grind, and you're like, oh, it is real.
Oh yeah, yep. First 5 minutes, 25 text messages and emails. I'm like, yeah, it's real.
Yeah. So what was it that got you into automotive? What led you to be in automotive retail, Wes?
Okay, very unique story, and not a lot
Yeah.
of people know this. So I was actually a fireman. I still am. I still volunteer, but I was a firefighter in Baltimore
way.
County. Yep, firefighter
That's
EMT
cool.
in Baltimore County. I wound up getting injured on the job, being under the probationary period of 2 years, a week away from being off. I filed for workers' comp from being injured. I was off for 4
Yeah.
months, and I was let go because I was on probation. So I was, like I said, no
Oh,
questions
sure.
asked, just terminated, right? So
Yeah.
at that moment, life was over. You couldn't have told me I wasn't going to be the next chief for the Baltimore County Fire Department. That's what
Yeah.
I knew. That's all I knew. And I went to Miami with an ex-girlfriend then girlfriend at the time.
Oh,
I
yeah.
went to Miami, was outside on a balcony, and I just had an epiphany. I said, I look good in a suit. Everybody loves me, and I can talk.
Yeah.
I'm going to sell
Yeah.
cars. And
You got
that
the
was
perfect
that.
personality.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was how it started. I put my resume on Career Builder. A great gentleman named Al McCaffrey, who's still in the car business, he called me from Len Stoller Incorporated. That was literally the very next morning. I went up, and that's where I met my lifelong mentor, Ernie Galarza, who's again in the car business up in upstate New York. He hired me, gave me an opportunity, and the rest is history.
How cool. Yeah. So we've got a few friends over at Len Stoller. So it's really cool to see that you got your start there. How cool. That's
Yep, right down the
great.
street from him. Yes, sir. Right where it all
Yeah.
began.
That's so cool. So tell me, how long did it take for you to fall in love with automotive to the point where you knew that one day you wanted to be a managing partner at a retail point?
Within the first month, like I said, I knew, but
That quick.
I
Yeah.
had a slightly different way because again, I got in the car business in 2011. So back
Yeah.
then, cold calling was still a big thing. Going into the CRM and having to make these leads, make these phone calls to these leads and having lead sheets thrown at you all day. And I hated the phone, and I wasn't going to go that route. So I chose to take the social media element and run with that. And that's how I was able to, build this brand, the Wes Watson experience, and truly be able to be where I am now, having such a great following and a long client base that just keeps coming back. All from
Yeah,
there.
Wes, that's so cool to see how much success you've driven just through self-branding. And a lot of people want to do that, but they're not willing to put in the effort to make it happen. So if you were trying to give someone advice on how to do that is a salesperson right now, what would you tell them as far as the commitment level, as far as what to do on how to actually brand themselves on social?
The first thing is mentality. You have to walk into
Yeah.
your dealership and you have to look at it like the name on that dealership is whatever. It's, so and so Motors. But when I sit at that desk, this is mine. And that's
That's
how I
right.
came up with the brand, the Wes Watson experience. Like, okay, yes, it's at Len Stoller, Incorporated, but this is mine. I own this part. And I'm
Yeah.
going to make it something bigger. So, it's getting the mentality first off, getting that started. But also, it's a job. Social media is a job of its own
Yeah.
outside of your responsibility, given to you by your leadership team at your respective dealership. So you have to be 24 hours a day posting. It's all about
Yeah.
consistency, but it's about
That's right.
personality. People think now, oh, I go take a picture of a car, it'll just sell. No, you have to have personality. They want to see you interact with the community. They want to see you
That's right.
out with your friends and your family, and not just, oh, this is just a sales pitch. All this guy does is post cars. There has
That's
to be
right.
some level of personality with that as well.
That's right. And getting that deeper connection to your community, I think, is so important that a lot of people aren't willing to put that effort into. So whether it's something you're already connected with or ways that you can actually continue to engage with your community through new avenues, I think that's super important, Wes. Just like you said, they need to see that you're actually out there loving your community. And from what I've seen from you, you really love your community wherever you're at.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I am a proud product of Woodlawn. You know, Woodlawn High School. You know that the community's done me well, and I stay
Yeah.
right here. So
Yeah, how cool. And Wes, so again, it's really cool to see that you've gotten to where you're at. How much effort and how much complexity did it take to get to the point where you actually had your own retail point? Like, how hard was it to actually create Day One Automotive?
well, surprisingly, getting it going was that was the hardest part. Was just us making the stride to actually do it. We've been
Yeah.
talking about doing this for probably about 5 years now, and then we were at Mike's house. You know, my finance director and partner.
Hmm.
We were at his
Yeah.
house at a barbecue, and literally sitting over the campfire, it just came up. It was like, hey, I mean the fire pit. It came up. Hey,
Yeah.
when are we going to do this? And
Yeah.
then literally we said, all right, well we're going to start. And then a week later, we got things in motion, and here we are 11 months later. We actually have a viable point, and we are selling
Yeah.
cars and making it happen.
Yeah, man, Wes, you make it sound so easy. But
Oh,
I know it's hard. There's so much untold stuff that happens that inspires that is it's so hard to get to where you're at, but it's like going back to really what inspired you in the first place, which from what I can tell is the people and the
of course.
community part of it and also like the drive to succeed. It's very clear that you've tried so hard to get to where you're at and as far as like finally arriving and having your retail point, I can imagine that's just so meaningful for you, Wes.
Every day I pull up and I see our billboard out front, and it's just like, wow, we really have this. But it
Yeah,
also it's the fuel to keep you going, because as hard or as easy as we want to make it think like we got it, it could go away just as fast.
that's right.
With one
Yeah.
mistake, one bad review, one unhappy client, one mistake. So again, you have to just use that and keep pushing, because you never arrive. You're always on ascent. That's how I like to look at it. You're always ascending. This plane never arrives. We're not at cruising altitude. We're still going. So.
Yeah, that's great. And something we always like to do is feature local dealers who are doing great things within their community. So if you look back at, so let me ask you this first. When did you guys first open Day One Automotive?
So we opened in December of 2022. We made
Yeah.
our official announcement on March 17th, 2023.
Yeah. Yeah. So you guys have been in business a little bit less than a year, even though the
Yes,
idea has been there for several years.
correct.
And the inspiration for you has been there for, man, what, a decade at least to do it, which is so
No,
cool to
I,
see.
I honestly never wanted to be an owner, really. Because I was afraid of, oh my God, the liability. I would see so many
Oh,
of the
sure.
headaches that would happen at the
Yeah.
dealership, and see the emails and
Yeah.
the sweat going on. I was like, nah, I'm good. I'll just be, I'll be somebody's, general manager forever or something like that. And then it came down to, obviously I have a daughter now, so
Yeah.
having my first child, it's now legacy. What can I
That's right.
leave? I can be an employee for somebody, and all I can leave them is life insurance or savings.
Yeah.
Versus now, she can physically have something. She has a part of something. So
How cool. And it's almost like you're building an empire that you leave behind for kids. Like like kids, it's funny how much it changes your life. You have a kid, you have multiple kids, like it, whatever it is, whatever it is for whoever it is that's listening, that changes your life completely. And it just reminds you that, again, like you said earlier, you have to consistently do the same thing over and over and over again successfully for it to work because easy come, easy go. You can wake up
correct,
one morning and almost lose everything
correct.
from an act of God, basically. So it's so cool to see that that's like your inspiration for that next level to get to that. What would you say to someone to as far as like for Day One Automotive?
Mhm.
How are you guys different from other dealers in your area, from other independents that are selling similar products?
The way we don't believe in the I'll call it creative marketing, where everybody's approved, because let's be realistic, everyone isn't approved. Okay,
Yeah,
so we are very transparent in our process.
yeah,
We are extremely open. We attempt to actually give the client what they want. A lot
yeah,
of people, they have credit challenges, are so used to coming to a dealership, and the mindset is, I'll take whatever you can get me. That doesn't leave them with a feeling of satisfaction and happiness, because although they might have a car, it's just like, they gave me the same thing like the last people, and they don't really appreciate that the same way, as opposed to when they come with, I'm looking for this, and we actually listen and attempt our best to get them what they want, or as close to what they requested as possible, just taking
Yeah.
the extra hour or two to figure it out, as opposed to the quick and easy route, the path of least resistance, like a lot of places will do.
Yeah, how cool. So you really pride yourself on the transparency part of it, but also go in like the extra effort and the extra mile for that experience. So even if it does take an extra 60 minutes with your client, like it sounds like you really want to go deliver for them on, what they're looking for. That's great, Wes.
That's what makes them come back.
Yeah, that's the Wes Watson experience, huh?
Yes, sir.
That's right. So Wes, I found you on LinkedIn. People that want to connect with you, is that the best way to find you is Wes Watson on LinkedIn?
Yes, sir. Like I said, LinkedIn. I also have Instagram at Wes_the experience. Also Wes Watson on Facebook, and then also Day One Automotive on Facebook, and Day One Baltimore on Instagram. So yeah, we have a lot of platforms. I stay busy. I have a lot of places to upload social media content to.
That's right, Wes. So it sounds like you keep yourself busy. So Wes, thank you for taking a few minutes out of your busy day to spend some time with us. And Wes, thank you so much for coming on here.
Thanks for watching this episode of In the Dirt with ASOTU. If you're new to our channel, make sure and mash that like and subscribe button. Also, check out some of these links for our other great podcasts and content.